Okay, everybody, the recording's on.
Very good. If everyone should just mute themselves and unless they're going to speak, that would be helpful. Thank you. Okay, good evening, everyone. My name's Tim Tankey. I'm the chairman of the Glen Cove IDA and the LEAC. As a reminder, this meeting was rescheduled from May 11th to this evening, Thursday, May 20th. The time is now 6:14. The meeting is being held via Microsoft Teams and a conference call if you phoned in.
Yes, ready.
All right, later. Put it aside.
Please mute yourselves if you can. Let us officially call the meeting to order at 6:14 p.m. and will the secretary please call the roll?
Ian Pusparica,
Here.
Dave V. Jimenez,
Here.
John Tata,
Here.
Joe Giuino's absent, we know. Jim Capiello,
I'm here.
Vice Chairman Hartley,
Here.
and Chairman Tankey.
I am present. Will the secretary report on the notice of meeting, please?
The notice of meeting was conducted in accordance with the IDA and GIGLIC bylaws and the Executive Order 202.87.
Thank you. Vince, you gotta mute yourself. Mute your phone.
Okay.
Thank you. Okay, I make a motion to approve the minutes of the IDA meeting that was held on April 13th, 2021. May I have a second?
Second, Ian Pusparica.
Thank you, Ian. Are there any questions on the minutes of April 13th, 2021? Okay, will the secretary please poll the board?
Ian Pusparica,
Aye.
Dave Jimenez, Dave V. Jimenez.
Aye. Aye.
John Tata,
Aye.
Joe Giuino's absent. Jim Capiello.
Aye.
Vice Chairman Hartley.
Yes.
Okay, and Chairman Tankey.
I vote aye.
Very
Okay, so we have the executive director and the finance report. So we'll go to Ann Fangman first. Will you please provide the members with your executive director update? And Ann, I'm just going to ask you to try to keep it short because we are running behind schedule as much as you can. That's all I'm asking. So thank you.
No problem. Good evening, everyone. Just a few updates. Avalon, we did receive a letter that Avalon is going to be seeking our consent, correct, Millen? Because Fairfields is going to be purchasing the Avalon property. Millen, I don't know if you want to say anything further on that at this time, as you've spoken to their legal counsel.
Yes, very briefly, it's Fairfield Properties. They are a big, sophisticated developer across Long Island. They've sent us a letter asking for this consent. We are in the process of collecting due diligence, so this will not be on the agenda for tonight, but I anticipate at your June meeting being able to come to you with this request. So this is just sort of a foreshadowing of the next thing to come along. Between now and then, I will forward to all of the board members, including David V., all of the requisite due diligence between now and then.
Now, Millen, is it correct that this will only be in regard to the Avalon South property, as the Avalon North property has already gone back on the tax rolls for us?
That is correct. Or we've signed all the termination documents. It's still technically in our name, but we will make sure that when the transfer to Fairfield Properties occurs, that the IDA's involvement in the Avalon North is terminated.
Okay, thank you, Millen. Moving to Arcadia Landing, I had actually given an update at the last meeting or the prior meeting that we were close to closing on the mortgage recording and sales tax assistance. And after that meeting, it seems like we did hit another stall. in regard to, I believe, some of the legal documents. Millen, do you have any idea how close we are to closing?
I have not heard substantively from them. And again, I'm not sure if we want to reach out to their counsel, who happens to be on the phone or at the meeting. But I think all the legal documents are done. We need some due diligence and to schedule a closing. So it should be any minute now.
Okay, good, because that was my understanding, you know, based upon speaking with them recently, that it was very close. It was just a matter of, you know, some of the documentation going between the, you know, the legal parties. So hopefully that will be closing shortly. And I apologize that there was a delay from when I last gave that update. And finally, Millen, you've been circulating some documentation on one of our other projects to the IDA board members in terms of some due diligence. And I suspect that we may be scheduling a public hearing in the near future for Livingston. Is that correct?
That is correct. And again, board members have been great about asking for additional due diligence, including looking at various pilot schedules that have been prepared. So the answer is yes. I think that's sort of the next step. And again, we would conduct that public hearing much the way that the chairman has asked us to conduct the public hearing on this matter, much more interactive and informative as opposed to the straight legal requirement.
Okay, very good. That's all I have at this time. Thank you.
Thank you, Ann. I appreciate it. Margot, I know you're on also. Will you please provide the members with the finance report?
Yes, sure. Good evening, Mayor, board members, and all those in attendance. The following is the financial update comparing the budget to actual for the period of January through April 2021. The highlights are as follows. The revenue for the period of January through April as compared to the budget is as follows. Total revenue of $39,000 is 6% of the annual budget of $635,000. Note the revenue includes admin fees, interest, and escrow funds. In terms of the expenses for the period of January through April as compared to the annual budgeted amount, salaries and benefits incurred for $51,000 is approximately 31% of the annual budget of $165,000. Professional expenditures incurred for $61,000 is 12% of the annual budgeted amount of $488,000. Note professional fees include accountants' fees, legal fees, and escrow fees. Other expenses incurred for the amount of $1,000 is 28% of the annual budget of $4,000. Other expenses include advertising, publications, and office expense. Thus far, there is an operating deficit of roughly $74,000. However, please note that some accrual entries have not been booked and there are some anticipated additional admin revenue to be determined to cover the deficit. Please let me know if you have any questions.
Thank you, Margot. I appreciate that very much.
Yeah, sure. Thank you.
Okay, moving on. Number 5, we have.
I'm sorry, I do have a question, Tim.
David, please go right ahead.
Yeah. How much do you expect the accrual to be that hasn't been done yet?
In terms of
why don't you go ahead, Margot?
Sure. In terms of admin revenue, at least $113,000 anticipated. And Ann, were there any other anticipated fees at this point?
Yes, I would say that there's other anticipated fees and that the 113,000 referenced will be one that we will likely see within the next quarter. So I don't have any concerns at this time in regard to our revenue.
All right,
Okay.
thanks.
Yeah, good question.
Thanks
Thank
for
you.
the question, David. Yes. Okay, I said moving on now, unfinished business. Now, the purpose of this evening's meeting is to continue the discussion regarding Georgia Green Ventures amended application for certain additional financial assistance for the workforce housing at Garvey's Point. Now Millen is here, and I believe that Millen, you could bring the members up to date on this project, and if Dan or Dave Gallo want to add to anything after that, please just let me know, and we'll accommodate that. So why don't we first turn it off to Millen, and then we'll move on from there. So Millen, please.
Sure. This is probably the third time that the board is, or more, hearing about this project. We've obviously did the preliminary resolution. Most importantly, since then, we have had a public hearing exactly 2 weeks ago today on May 6th. Again, pursuant to the mayor's instruction that we have more time between the public hearing and the actual approval date. So as to give the board members more time to reflect, et cetera.
Millen,
Yes.
can I stop you right there for 1 second? Millen, this
Of
is
course.
the mayor. I just wanted to know, did we receive any written comments from the public regarding the public hearing that took place at the last meeting that we had?
I did not, Chairman. We did receive some additional comments from the board members that we have been continuously following up on.
Right.
And
No, I
some
saw
which,
those.
we may have tonight.
Right. Okay. So I saw that, but okay. Thank you. I just wanted to bring the board up to date as to what the public's input was, but go ahead, Millen. I'm sorry.
Sure. 5 of the 7 board members attended the public hearing, which I think is remarkable, and the others were provided access to it via a link, and it's on the IDA's website. At the public hearing, no members of the backing up. Several members of the IDA board spoke and asked questions. No members of any of the public or representatives of any of the affected tax jurisdictions spoke either way. At the mayor's direction, at the chairman's direction, we held open the public hearing until May 11th to give the public and the affected tax jurisdictions a few more days to submit any written comments. And as you've just heard, we have received none. I will comment that in general, the IDA and the staff have done an awful lot of due diligence that the board has received. First, we had the SVS report, which set forth the approximate real estate taxes that might otherwise be payable. We had NDC give us advice as to what the pilot should be. And we had the MRB report, which summarized the economic impact of this project. Further, I will note that many board members have asked a lot of questions, and I have forwarded those to the developer and their counsel, and we've gotten responses to just about all of them. There may be a lingering question or two. I know John may have one, but in general, I think that we've done an awful lot of due diligence, and we are now ready to approve, and there's a final approving resolution pending, this financial assistance.
I was muted again. I'm trying to keep it quiet while you're talking. Dan or Mr. Gallo, if you have any comments you'd like for the board to consider before I ask the board any additional questions that they have, I will also turn it over to the public to see if the public has any questions before we close the public hearing with regard to this before the vote. So I want to start with Dan Deegan. Dan, do you have any questions or comments at this point?
No, I don't think so. I think the public hearing, which many of the board members were at, was, a pretty good back and forth in terms of answering and presenting the facts. And, obviously we're here to answer questions if the board has any additional questions.
Terrific. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Deegan. Mr. Gallo, I just want to give you the opportunity if you want. Is there anything you would like to add?
No, Mayor. Thank you.
Okay. So I'm going to open it up to the board members first. If there's any questions that they have at this time, I ask that you just let me know who wants to speak and will be recognized and you'll be able to ask your question. Anyone have a question? Mr. Teta.
Yes, thank you. Well, I guess one of my questions was the marketing of the project. Where was it going to be marketed? How it was going to be marketed? in looking at the document that Millen sent out, I guess it could be page 12, bottom half of page 12, 6B, the public lottery requirement. I was very curious as to how it got marketed, what percentage of these the project is going to go locally, and is it open to the state in general? So the links that are on this document do not open. So as much as the question's being addressed, the answer is not.
And thank you, Mr. Tanner. Dave, are you going to answer that? Or I thought I heard you start to speak. I don't want to step on you. Go ahead.
No, go ahead, Dan. It's your.
Well, I was just going to say, because I know we've heard this before, and obviously, people would like to see Glen Cove residents be given first opportunity for affordable housing, and I'll let Dave speak to it more, but there's some legal concerns. You have to be careful with fair housing laws that you are not allowed to just target a particular community. It is supposed to be something that's made available to a broader group of people. There's marketing techniques and other ways that it does tend to be more locally focused, but we can't say that it's only Glen Cove residents or any certain group of people because of fair housing laws. So I just wanted to sensitize you to why we have to be careful about speaking and how ultimately it is a lottery, which suggests randomness. Obviously, once people are selected through a lottery, they have to then be qualified. Just because you entered the lottery doesn't mean you're qualified for one of these apartments. But I just wanted to sensitize everybody to that legal issue. And then Dave, I don't know if you want to add anything in terms of your experience and how you actually market these.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks, Dan. So no, I think you answered it appropriately. It is a lottery process. There is a marketing plan that I think is been completed. So the link may have not been able to open, but we can certainly provide it. But a true, open, transparent, lottery is what takes place in these situations. And in addition to that, what we did to sort of localize the process, because we knew it was important, we have a waiting list referral agreement with the Glen Cove Housing Authority for, I think it's 20%, it might be more. So while we'll have an open lottery, it will be targeted. There will be a direct 20% referral waiting list that will come from obviously the residents on that waiting list will have to still qualify. Just because we pull from that waiting list doesn't mean that every resident accepted, they'll still have to be qualified. But so 20% will be working with the housing authority, and in addition to that, we do try to target as locally as we can, with staying in the boundaries of fair housing laws.
Yeah, you made a good point, and I appreciate that, Mr. Gallo, and you're right. Even though that there is an agreement there for the 20%, again, they have to qualify. If they don't qualify for the financial arrangements that you would have to qualify for, that unit may go to someone else. But they get first shot at it. They have 20% of the available apartments will go to Glen Cove Housing Authority list members first. So we appreciate that. And I know, Dan, you made a very good point legally that when you're taking money from the state and everything, you still have to keep this very open to the surrounding communities to fulfill an obligation when you're providing when you're providing affordable housing, that it be open to a greater number of people and then not targeted to one area. So that's a very good point. I also just want to.
In addition, Mayor, I would just add that we as we develop on Long Island and far east as Amagansett, Southampton, there's always an appeal to have the local residents benefit from the housing. And in almost every development we do, I'm going to say it's over 90%. I mean, we just leased up 37 apartments in East Hampton. Virtually everybody came from the area. I mean, it is often the local residents that do end up in the housing. And
yeah, sometimes it's just demographics that dictates what happens, and that's fine. I mean, and I appreciate you saying that. I know, Mr. Perspirica has a question, and I'd like to acknowledge him and ask him to go ahead and speak.
Thank you, Chairman. Yeah, actually have two questions. One, and this may be too granular, but the 20% that's allocated for the Glen Cove Housing Authority, how is that reflected in terms of units? Because you have, 4 studios, 16 one-bedrooms, and I don't know if the developer went that granular at this point, or it's just kind of like a blanket number saying 20%, and then depending on the needs of whoever gets selected from the list, the units get allocated.
No, we'll have to prorate based upon the 20% per bedroom size.
Okay.
That's a very good question, Ian. Thank you for that. That was good. I didn't even think of that one. That's a good one.
So,
Ian,
and
you have
then
another one? Go ahead.
the second one was more, pertaining to timing. So at which phase in the project development the actual marketing starts? So when do you intend to publish something? Or I'm not sure exactly what venues or what channels are you using for marketing.
I'm going to ask either Allison Giosa or Matt Ardito to answer, but there's a pretty strict timeline that we adhere to. I believe it's 120 days from what we perceive as our TCO date that will start that process. But if I'm off on that date, and it's Allison or Matt can correct me.
Okay.
You're right on target, 120 days before the estimated date of our initial occupancy.
TCO. Yep.
Great,
Okay.
thank you.
Thank you, Allison. That's good. Let me just say I misspoke earlier. I just want to fix this because I don't want to have any misinformation out there. I said I was going to open it up to the public. The public portion of this hearing actually closed on May 11th. We left it open specifically for the public to respond or to send in comments to this application up until May 11th. So we will not be taking comments from the public tonight. Tonight is really for the board members to get out their final questions and have the applicant answer any questions that the board members may have at this time. So I don't want to mislead anyone to say that we're going to open this up as a further public hearing. That is not the case. Okay, I just want to be very clear on that. Does any other board member have any other questions before we vote on this? Okay, not seeing any at this point. I would just like to move on. We're going to see if we have new business. Do we have any new business to discuss this evening, Executive Director?
No, we do not.
Thank you. So we'll move on to 7. I make a motion, resolution of the Glen Cove IDA taking official action towards and approving the straight lease documents for a certain project for Georgica Green Ventures and or its affiliates. May I have a second for the adoption of Resolution 7A? Anyone want to second this motion?
I second, Ian Pushpurika.
Thank you, Ian. I appreciate that. Okay. Since we've had all comment periods and we've had this open for the public meetings, and the applicant has provided us responses to questions, I will ask now that the secretary please poll the board on this matter.
Ian Pusparica,
In favor.
Dave V. Jimenez,
In favor.
John Teta,
I vote aye.
Joe Giorgino's absent, Jim Capiello,
I vote aye.
Vice Chairman Hartley,
I vote aye.
and Chairman Tanky.
I vote aye. And let me just say that I'm very happy to see that this is something that Glen Cove desperately needs in its midst here. And again, I know I spoke last time about this. I'm not speaking on behalf of this developer, or I'm just speaking on behalf of myself as the mayor and as the chairman, that this is really desperately needed in our city. And I thank the board members for the consideration and their due diligence and looking at this project and approving it this evening. So thank you all very, very much for that. Moving on, since the motion has carried, we're going to move to the last item that we have on for our agenda this evening, which is, since there's no other further business to come before the board, I make a motion to adjourn this meeting, and I ask for a second.
I have one.
Second.
Wait,
I have one question before we move on, if you don't mind. Mr.
Ian,
Chairman.
yes, I'll recognize you for that, and I'll ask you to go ahead.
In regarding Livingston, and again, thank you, Millen, for sending a couple of options here. I know we're supposed to have a public hearing, but we still need to decide which proposal we're going to submit to the public hearing. So is that?
Ian, we'll talk about that offline instead of doing that in public at this point.
Got it.
We need, all right, and we'll address that, but this is really not the proper time to address that at this point. So
Understood.
Question. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. So again, may I have it? I heard there's a couple of people who may I have a second for adjourning tonight's meeting.
Seconded by Vincent Hartley.
Thank you, Chairman, Co-Chair, Vice Chairman. I'm sorry. Will the secretary please poll the board members?
Ian Posparica,
Aye.
David Jimenez,
Aye.
John Teta,
Aye.
Jim Capiello,
Aye.
Vice Chairman Hartley,
Aye.
Chairman Tanky.
I vote aye. This evening, it's now 6:40 p.m. and this meeting is now been adjourned. I want to thank everybody for attending and again, your attention to this matter that we had voted on this evening. Again, thank you. Have a great evening. Enjoy your Memorial Day weekend. I don't think we'll be meeting before that happens. So everyone have a wonderful holiday and we'll see you soon. Thank you all very, very much.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good night.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Take care.